Scrappy Peep Suzanna here today for Ellie's Studio, and I'm sharing with you this large photo layout, Christmas layout, featuring the A Merry Moment stamp. So I have used this same stamp multiple ways on this large photo layout. So you can see that there is one central large photo of myself reflected in a Christmas tree ornament, and then that same reflection is in some of the smaller elements twice again throughout the layout or throughout the photo there. So what I'm doing here is I'm using the border stamp, the star border stamp, and it is a very subtle effect, but I am stamping that as a border all the way across and then heat embossing that. So this is a matte photo, and you can totally heat emboss on a matte photo paper. So using my Versamark stamp and just repeating it, and I'm going a little blindly, but it's okay because I'm going to have a large circle that will cover, and it actually goes all the way across, but were it to not have gone all the way across, the circles in it, and because it's such a subtle pattern, you don't really notice it. So while I've got the heat emboss out, while I've got the heat gun out, I'm going to go ahead and emboss a couple of these other circles. So in the stamp set itself, you have 3 circles with phrases. One says favorite, one says love this, and the other says good times. And so I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss good times, and I'm going to do good times twice, I think. So I store all of my punches in one place, and you can see I have that little template there so that I know what size punches to grab. So I've got my gold embossed on the photo itself, and I've got the gold embossed on and what says good times. So now I want to use these same circle stamps and put a few more circles of that same size throughout the layout. And my intent is also I want to have one of these same circles that I can also use without a phrase in the center of it, so it could house journaling or a place or something else along those lines. So to do that, I'm just going to cover the stamp up with it's a post-it note, take that off, and then mask it and stamp there. So perfect how I can get rid of the phrase. You can also add to the phrase, which I will do with one of the stamps once I have punched them all out. And that's the great thing about stamping is you can layer up your stamps. You can add phrases. So here I have got Merry Moment. It actually says a merry moment, but I don't want the A, literally the letter A, because so the phrase reads love this merry moment. So it would have read funny if it had said love this a merry moment. It could have been 2 phrases, right? But I wanted it as one continuous read, which is typically what in my mind you do. The other thing with these stars, so these smaller stars, you have 2 smaller star clusters. See how I'm using that smaller set there, again, just to embellish the circles. You could create a full background using the stars, or you could use those stars to punctuate banners, other fun things. So you can see I've set up my layout here, and I've got a visual triangle plus the not visual triangle with that circle that will have phrases in it. My original intent had been to fill circles all around the border of the page, but it doesn't work. It was just going to be too busy. It's busy enough as it is because it's hard to see the focal photo in the center there. And what I like about the way that I've created the header border of circles and the footer border of circles is that it allows you to then focus on that center bauble, that center ornament in the center of the page there. So truly I am sticking with circles. I am using my circle punches. I am using the circles in the die cuts right there of the kit. I'm going to use those circles that you see on the right hand side of the screen there that are from the Holiday Fun stickers, and I am also going to use some of the magical acetate circles that come with the kit this month and just literally create that row across, a random row that will adorn the photo as well as give me places to just house the date, house the journaling, and I've got journaling literally scattered in 3 different places throughout the layout. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So these are the magical acetate circles. There are some fun Christmas phrases, but there are also some fun just generic phrases, like I used on another one of my layouts. You also have a heart and a star, I believe, as well. And I'm using my other shapes to help adhere these down. I could have stapled them, but the staple provides that horizontal that takes away from the looseness of the circles, and so I didn't want to use staples there. So just kind of placing the circles so that they go across the page and that there is a contrast of color. So you can see that magic is very red, right? And it's a very dominant color. And so I want to have a balance of those types of colors throughout. So you can see that ornament on the left-hand side that's parallel with my head on the edge of the photo there, and it's very yellow. And there isn't much yellow, although my iPhone that I'm holding in my hand that you can see is also, it carries a yellowy tint to it, is a gold phone. And so I do want to incorporate just a little bit of yellow into the layout. You can also see some of the gold in that reflection down the bottom there in that heat emboss as well. So varying size circles, again, just to provide contrast to the different ornaments, as well as that super large photo that's in the center there. A little bit about this photo. So I went to Denver in early November for a physical therapy continuing education course. And as I was wandering around downtown, this is in the square, and it was called Larimer Square, was this giant Christmas tree, which just for me, for early November, let me look at the layout and find the date for you. November 6th seemed awfully, awfully early for a Christmas tree. My title was going to be Way Too Early Christmas Tree, but there was no way. There's enough on here that was just way too much, and so I just went with Larimer Square, but I talk about the Way Too Early Christmas Tree in my journaling there. So another fun feature of this stamp set is you have this label or this rectangle that mimics the same straight line and dots as you have in the circles there. And so I wanted to use that just for a little bit of grounding within that circle. And again, it was more decorative than serving any other purpose. So I'm going to use these puffy hearts and stars to try and incorporate just a little bit of yellow, also just to get more of that darker contrast that I was referencing earlier that I was looking for. And by putting another shape in there, I'm also able to just get a little bit more contrast to the layout. This also provides a little bit more dimension. You saw I used the foam double-sided tape, but I also like to have different gradations of depth in my layouts there. So now what I want to do is I want to work on the title. So available this month are the white Parker alphabet cardstock stickers, and these are fantastic for stamping on. So I'm going to use that star border, and I'm going to just put a subtle pattern onto them. It's almost like creating your own pattern sticker, right? And I'm going to stamp that with the red stamp pad, just again to add a little bit more color. I want the white because there's a lot of green in the layout, but I want just a hint more of that super bright, sharp red in the layout to pull the whole thing together. So I'm going to stamp the word Larimer, which is the title of the square, and then I knew I wanted to do square just as SQ in red, and again because I wanted that bright color to pull the whole layout together, and you'll see how that does that really nicely with those red circles, that the one that says magic and then the other that says merry and bright. So there's a lot of words, a lot of subtitles, a lot of phrases scattered throughout the layout, but they work perfectly because they are softened by the shape of the circle or the circles that is the continuous theme throughout the layout. So doing this is something that I do fairly regularly. I like to use circles in my layouts, either a cascade of circles. And so I've done this for, boy, I did this a while ago with Spiegel Mom Scraps with circles that were all along the edges of a 12 by 12 layout. I can show you. I'll put that a link to that just in the top right hand corner right now as I'm speaking. If you look up there, you'll find a link to that particular video. I've also just done a Christmas layout with photoplay paper going down the center, and there's also vellum, and so the vellum opening is on the photo. That's pretty cool. I'll link you to that as well in the top right hand corner right now as we are speaking, or as I am speaking. Um, so it's a common theme. Circles are a fun way of adding movement to a layout. And I think I have a sketch of that last one that I referenced. So if I can find that, I will also link you to that somewhere, probably over on my Instagram if I can do that. I'll have to figure that out. So then the other great stamp set that you can get this month is the monthly number stamp. So adding to the great date stamps available from Elle Studio, now you have a circle option, and I'm going to add that for the date of this particular layout. So if you have any questions about any of the technique that I've used or the stamp set itself or Elle Studio, please don't hesitate to leave them in the box down below. Here's the full layout. The close-ups are to follow. Enjoy the close-ups. Thanks for stopping in today, and I hope you're doing well. Come back again soon. Take care.